To intro, brother and sisters. In a world where conversations are fleeting and most people speak without meaning, there's a rare kind of person who leaves a mark not through wealth, looks, or status, but through the weight of their words. These are the people who become unforgettable. And what makes them so is not luck but understanding. Understanding human nature. Understanding what words awaken the mind and stir the heart. Today, we're diving deep into 8 phrases that will make you unforgettable to women. Phrases rooted in Stoic wisdom and explained through the lens of Jordan B. Peterson's philosophy of responsibility. Truth and strength. Women don't remember those who merely entertain them. They remember those who ground them, those who remind them of meaning, integrity, and inner order in a world drowning in chaos. Peterson often says, "You cannot find love without truth, and you cannot keep love without courage." And that's the essence of today's message. Being unforgettable isn't about manipulation. It's about embodying character so rare that your presence becomes a standard by which others measure themselves. So as you listen, don't think of these phrases as tricks or tactics. Think of them as reflections of a man who has mastered himself, who speaks with conviction, who does not seek validation, but offers clarity. Let's begin this journey, not into the psychology of attraction, but into the philosophy of authenticity. You're not like everyone else, and I respect that. This phrase is powerful because it recognizes individuality. Something every human being craves but rarely experiences genuinely. In the modern world, compliments are currency. They're given without thought, received without meaning. But when you say, "You're not like everyone else and I respect that," you are doing something far deeper. You are affirming value through discernment. Jordan Peterson would tell you that respect is not given lightly. It must be earned through perception and responsibility. When a woman hears those words from a man who carries himself with quiet confidence, she feels seen, not as an object of attention, but as a soul of substance. The Stoics believed that true power lies in observation without judgment, seeing things as they are, not as you wish them to be. When you speak this phrase sincerely, you are communicating, "I see you for who you are, not for what I want you to be." And that is unforgettable, because, understand this, most people today are distracted. They look but they don't see. They listen but they don't hear. They engage but they don't understand. When you speak with awareness, with the mindfulness of a Stoic and the sincerity of a man rooted in values, your words become medicine. Peterson often warns men, don't confuse charm with character. Charm is fleeting. Character endures. So when you say to a woman, "You're not like everyone else and I respect that," you are anchoring your words in character. You are telling her, consciously or not, that you value substance over style, truth over flattery, and that is something the human heart never forgets. This phrase makes you unforgettable not because it flatters, but because it recognizes uniqueness without attachment. You're not chasing, you're observing. You're not seeking approval. You're acknowledging worth. In a society where everyone wants to be liked, be the one who understands. "I admire your strength, but I also see your softness." If the first phrase recognizes individuality, this second one recognizes balance, the dual nature of the feminine spirit. Jordan Peterson speaks often about polarity, the balance of order and chaos, the masculine and feminine, strength and vulnerability. To see both sides in a person and to value them equally is a mark of profound maturity. When you say, "I admire your strength, but I also see your softness," you are reflecting an understanding of human complexity. You're saying, "I don't reduce you to one trait. I see the whole." Women are often forced to pick between appearing strong or appearing gentle. Society praises one and punishes the other. But a man who can recognize both, her resilience and her tenderness, becomes emotionally magnetic. This is not about flattery. It's about witnessing someone's truth. In Stoicism, the wise man does not deny emotion. He understands it, controls it, and respects its power. To tell someone that you see both their strength and their vulnerability is to mirror the balance of the Stoic ideal: courage without arrogance, compassion without weakness. Peterson would put it like this: a strong man is one who can look at chaos and choose to bring order. When you acknowledge both a woman's power and her gentleness, you're not playing games. You're creating order through truth. And here's the deeper psychology. When someone feels fully seen, all sides of them, not just the curated mask, they naturally attach emotional weight to the one who saw them. You become imprinted in their memory because you gave language to what they feel but never express. That's the secret. You don't become unforgettable by being impressive. You become unforgettable by being attuned, by recognizing depth where others see surface. Remember this: the Stoics didn't chase desire, they mastered it. Peterson echoes this when he says, "You don't get to choose whether or not you pay a price. You only get to choose which price you pay. If you choose to pay the price of awareness, patience, and authenticity, rather than the price of quick gratification, you gain something far more powerful: respect that endures and attraction that deepens over time." So, the next time you're in conversation, don't try to be memorable. Try to be present, because presence, not perfection, is what truly makes you unforgettable. You make me want to be more disciplined. This phrase carries the gravity of transformation. It doesn't flatter, it reveals. Because when you tell a woman, "You make me want to be more disciplined," you are saying something profound: that her presence inspires growth, not desire alone. Jordan Peterson often teaches that the highest form of attraction isn't lust, it's admiration. Admiration for someone whose example awakens your dormant potential. In his words, "You should be the strongest person at your father's funeral." That strength, the kind forged through discipline, through responsibility, is the essence of what defines a man. So when you express that someone's energy makes you want to refine yourself, you are speaking the language of maturity. You are saying, "Your standard raises mine." The Stoics believed that the best relationships are those that make you virtuous, that push you to rise above indulgence, laziness, or fear. Epictetus wrote, "Only the educated are free." In the same way, only the disciplined can truly love, because love without structure collapses into chaos. Most people today seek pleasure, but few understand that pleasure without purpose erodes the soul. Peterson says it best: you can't be free without discipline. Freedom is not the absence of restraint, it's the mastery of restraint. So when you tell someone that they make you want to be more disciplined, you're not just admiring their presence, you're committing to self-order. You're acknowledging that connection should not make you weaker. It should make you sharper, more aware, more intentional. And women, at their core, recognize this truth. They may not articulate it, but they feel it. The difference between a man who wants attention and a man who seeks evolution. The first drains energy, the second creates it. Being unforgettable, then, isn't about how much emotion you express. It's about how much growth your presence represents. When you say, "You make me want to be more disciplined," you declare, "I'm willing to carry the weight that comes with meaning." And meaning, as Peterson reminds us, is the antidote to suffering. This phrase makes you unforgettable not because it praises her, but because it reveals your willingness to change. And few things are more magnetic than a person unafraid of self-improvement. I don't need you to be perfect. I value your honesty. Honesty is the cornerstone of every lasting connection. And the reason this phrase is so powerful is because it touches something rare: safety in truth. In today's world, people are addicted to image. They show perfection but hide pain. They curate smiles but conceal doubts. And in that fragile illusion, love loses its footing. When you say, "I don't need you to be perfect. I value your honesty," you give permission for authenticity to exist. You tell her, "Your flaws don't threaten me. They invite me to understand you." Jordan Peterson has often said, "Truth is the pathway to redemption." And in the context of relationships, that redemption is freedom. The freedom to exist as you are, not as you are expected to be. The Stoics, too, valued truth as the foundation of virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Honesty is not simply about confession, it's about alignment. It's about living so that your words, actions, and values are one coherent whole. When you express to someone that you value their honesty, you are reinforcing the idea that authenticity is greater than perfection. And here's why that's unforgettable. Most people only love the image they create of others. But when someone loves you for your truth, for your human contradictions, your uncertainty, your vulnerability, that love becomes sacred. Peterson emphasizes this often. To love someone is to see who they could be, and to stand by them as they struggle to become that. When you tell a woman you value her honesty, you are not idolizing her ideal. You are respecting her reality. You're saying, "I can handle your truth." In a culture built on shallow validation, that sentence becomes revolutionary. Because the courage to face truth, and yours and hers, is what builds deep trust. And trust, once earned through honesty, is never forgotten. It's the quiet recognition that in your presence, masks can fall and stillness can breathe. You don't demand perfection, you invite truth, and in doing so, you become the person she remembers long after words fade. Not because you made her feel perfect, but because you made her feel safe to be real. You have no idea how much your silence teaches me. This phrase belongs to those who listen deeply. It carries the rare essence of stillness, something almost extinct in modern conversation. When you tell someone, "You have no idea how much your silence teaches me," you're communicating awareness beyond words. You're saying, "I learn not just from what you say, but from who you are when you say nothing." Jordan Peterson often reminds us, if you listen, people will tell you everything you need to know. But most people never truly listen. They wait for their turn to speak. The Stoics believed that silence is not emptiness. It's strength under control. It's the moment between reaction and wisdom, the space where truth reveals itself. When you appreciate someone's silence, you acknowledge their depth of presence. You're saying, you don't need to perform to have value. In that simple recognition, you stand apart. Think about it. Most conversations today are noise. Constant chatter, scrolling words, endless opinions. Rarely does anyone pause long enough to feel the heartbeat of the moment. But when you see beauty in silence, you communicate emotional intelligence at a high level. You become the person who notices what others miss. The quiet sigh, the thoughtful pause, the reflective gaze. Peterson might say that silence is where the soul organizes itself. It's where chaos finds order. When you honor that space in someone else, you're connecting not just to their mind, but to their essence. Telling a woman that her silence teaches you means you value her beyond her expressions. You value her energy, her composure, her unspoken truth. That kind of recognition is deeply spiritual, almost stoic in nature, because in Stoicism the highest virtue is control, not of others, but of oneself. When you can sit in silence and still feel connection, it means your awareness has transcended the need for noise. And in that awareness, you become unforgettable. Because in a loud world, stillness is power. And when you're the one who recognizes that power in another, you create a bond that words could never achieve. I trust your judgment. This phrase doesn't sound dramatic, but it carries the rarest form of respect, intellectual and emotional trust. When you tell a woman, "I trust your judgment," you elevate her from being merely liked to being respected. Jordan Peterson often says, "The highest compliment you can give someone is responsibility." Because when you entrust someone with responsibility, you're not treating them as fragile. You're recognizing their strength and discernment. To tell someone you trust their judgment is to say, "Your wisdom matters. I believe you can see clearly even when I cannot." That is not a phrase of submission. It's a phrase of confidence. Because only a man who trusts his own strength can trust another's insight. The insecure man seeks control. The grounded man seeks understanding. And women, consciously or not, are deeply attuned to this difference. When you trust a woman's judgment, you're not giving up leadership. You're acknowledging partnership. You're saying, "You are my equal in perception." Peterson frequently reminds his listeners that trust is the foundation of civilization. It's what allows cooperation, love, and growth to exist at all. Without it, every connection collapses under suspicion and fear. The Stoics also emphasize this truth. Seneca wrote, "To be trusted is a greater compliment than to be loved." Because love without trust is dependency. It feeds on validation. But trust creates freedom. When you express trust in someone's judgment, you're removing the ego barrier that most people hide behind. You're showing that your masculinity is secure enough to appreciate intelligence in others. That's unforgettable. Because most women rarely hear that kind of acknowledgement. They hear admiration for beauty, attention for charm, but seldom respect for wisdom. And when a man can see beyond appearances, when he can honor intellect, empathy, and intuition, he becomes memorable in the truest sense. You see, trust is not given lightly. It's a sacred transaction between two conscious beings who have seen each other's character and decided it's worth the risk. So when you tell a woman, "I trust your judgment," you're saying, "I see your wisdom. I value your insight, and I believe in your strength to make sense of chaos." That sentence alone contains everything Stoicism stands for: composure, self-awareness, and faith in human reason. And when you speak it sincerely, it transforms ordinary conversation into something timeless. Because trust, when given to the right person, becomes the soil where both souls grow. You make peace feel powerful. This phrase transcends the ordinary. It captures what very few people ever experience: strength through calm. Most relationships today revolve around excitement, drama, or desire. But true connection, the kind that lingers long after presence fades, is built on peace. When you tell a woman, "You make peace feel powerful," you are not complimenting her beauty or intelligence. You are recognizing her energy. You're saying, "In your stillness I find strength. In your calm I find focus." Jordan Peterson often teaches that chaos and order are eternal partners. The masculine often seeks to bring order to the world's chaos, while the feminine embodies the mystery of being itself. But when the two energies harmonize, when a man of discipline meets a woman of peace, that is balance. Peterson once said, "The purpose of life is to find the largest burden that you can bear and to bear it. But even burden needs balance. Even warriors need rest. Even purpose needs peace." And that's what this phrase acknowledges. The ability to find stillness without weakness. The Stoics believed that calmness is not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." When you recognize someone who brings that energy into your life, you are expressing gratitude for stability in an unstable world. Telling a woman she makes peace feel powerful is the highest compliment you can offer, because it implies that she amplifies your focus, tempers your chaos, and deepens your awareness. It means she doesn't distract you from your mission. She strengthens it. She doesn't make you smaller. She makes you calmer, sharper, and more grounded. And that kind of impact is unforgettable. Because attraction fades, excitement burns out, but the memory of someone who brought peace, peace that felt strong, not empty, stays forever. Peterson often says that meaning is found where responsibility and love intersect. Peace is the bridge between the two. It allows you to carry life's weight without breaking under it. So when you say to someone, "You make peace feel powerful," you are telling them, "Your presence doesn't numb me, it sharpens me." That's not romance. That's reverence. And that is the mark of a soul that has matured through both fire and silence. The Stoic path to being unforgettable. We've explored 8 phrases. Not tricks, not lines, but truths. Each of them rooted in the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, filtered through the clarity of Jordan Peterson's philosophy, a philosophy that demands accountability, honesty, and meaning. Let's reflect for a moment. You've learned to recognize individuality, to respect balance, to seek discipline, to value honesty, to learn from silence, to offer trust, and to honor peace. These are not just phrases to say, they are principles to live, because being unforgettable has nothing to do with performance. It has everything to do with presence. It's not about making people remember your charm. It's about making them remember your truth. Peterson often says, "If you want to change the world, start by cleaning your room." In other words, start small, with yourself. Speak with intention. Listen with patience. Walk with integrity. The Stoics would agree. You cannot control others, but you can master your responses. You can choose calm over chaos, responsibility over resentment, purpose over pleasure. And that mastery, that quiet discipline, is what makes a person unforgettable. Because in a world where most people chase validation, the one who carries self-respect radiates peace. In a world full of noise, the one who listens stands out. In a world obsessed with image, the one who chooses depth becomes eternal. So remember, these 8 phrases are not spells to influence others. They are reflections of who you choose to be. When you live by truth, when you speak with respect, when your silence teaches and your peace empowers, you don't need to chase attention. You become the kind of soul that commands it naturally. Jordan Peterson teaches that meaning is not found in comfort, but in responsibility. And responsibility begins with how you carry yourself, in your words, your tone, your awareness. So let your presence be deliberate. Let your words be weighty. Let your actions echo long after you've left the room, because true influence isn't loud, it's lasting. And when you embody that, you will not just be remembered, you will be unforgettable.